Hello, everyone. This is Santosh Shekhar here from GooCampus, and today we would like to welcome all of you all to this webinar. This webinar is about the MBBS program in the US, and this webinar is supported by Sri Siddhartha Academy of Higher Education and Avalon University from Curaçao. This session is specially designed for 12th standard students and students who are pursuing their 12th standard and wanting to become a doctor, the dream of becoming a doctor in the US. The webinar is going to talk about questions that you have in mind of how do I become a doctor in the US and what is the pathway. And we have our expert panel of doctors from the Avalon University from Curacao who's going to talk about certain questions that students definitely ask during this program. And to welcome our esteemed speakers today, we have Dr. Samir Fateh, who is the president of Avalon University. We have Dr. Reshma Fateh, who's Associate of Dean of Admissions and Dean of Bachelor of Sciences in Health Sciences. And we have Dr. Sirisha Bala, who's the Dean of Basic Sciences. And we've also got Dr. Lanny Wilson, who would be joining us later, who's the Dean of Clinical Sciences. We're going to discuss about the journey for students to take, from India to Curacao and the US, and what are the questions that students have in mind or parents that will have in mind before joining this program. So we've got an opening set of questions for Dr. Samir. And what makes the pre-med MD program unique compared to the traditional MBBS programs, doctor?
So I would say that, with the pre-medical program, what makes it unique is that this will really ensure that the students are academically and mentally prepared for the workload once they get to the MD program. The pre-medical program is really designed to understand and grasp these prerequisite courses, but it is also there to help build the work ethic and the routine of handling workloads. So for these students that
Okay.
complete the pre-medical program, once they come to the MD program, they are equipped to really strive during the MD program.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. So how does this program help students to secure a medical career in the US? Kind of just a brief about the program.
Yeah, sure. So the most important thing for medical students to really succeed and to get a postgraduate position is it's how well you perform during medical school, right? So ultimately, the performance that you do during medical school really goes a long way. So during medical school, it's about understanding the medical level subjects as a whole, but it's also about being ready and prepared for the medical licensing exams. When
Okay.
students apply for a postgraduate position, these programs, they will see your performance during medical school, but they'll also want to make sure that the performance on the medical licensing exams is up to par. So I think that, when it comes to Kwan, um, that's what we do, and that's what we have done a tremendous job in doing. Our students are very successful on the medical licensing exams, which is equating them to getting into postgraduate positions in the United States, Canada, and many countries around the world.
Okay. Okay, doctor. So, considering there are many pathways that people want to get into the US for the program, for the MBBS program, or becoming a doctor in the US. I think there is a direct pathway or probably different routes. What kind of inspired Avalon to start with this multi-country pathway, and then how is this going to be different from other pathways, the program?
Right. So, the first thing that comes to mind, especially when we came across SAHE Global, is that, both of our visions, it's about providing a quality education, but it's really about caring for our students. When it comes to our students, they are the most important people to us. And when we recognize this with SAHE Global, it was a perfect match. So, when
Okay.
it comes to making sure that the support is there, the guidance is there, the care is there, it goes a long way because, as students, these are young professionals that are essentially they're young adults. So it's our job to guide them in the right direction to make sure that they are doing the things the way that they should be done. Also, from an educational standpoint, SAHE Global and Avalon are really striving and doing well, excelling on the accreditation standpoint. With SAHE Global's accreditation and Avalon's accreditation, that really ensures and makes sure that both of our programs are maintaining the high standards to allow our students to learn the informations appropriately. So so when it comes to the two things, it's about caring for our students, guiding our students, and making sure our students are really taken care of. But also, it's about providing a quality education that is recognized worldwide.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Bala, I would like to ask you a couple of questions about the
Yeah,
program
sure.
structure and the journey in this, the pathway. So, how are the 6 years of the program, like, divided between India, Curaçao, and the US in terms of the program structure, and how would it benefit the students?
Yes, I would say Avalon's program is structured into three phases, according the what we say, structured in three phases across the countries. First 2 years of the bachelor program in health sciences, that would be in India, where the students will be doing all the mandatory coursework which are required for for building up the knowledge in for our MD program. The mandatory coursework includes English, biologies, chemistries, organic chemistry, social sciences, things like that. So for the in the first year of our bachelor program, we made sure our curriculum includes all of those mandatory coursework done. And that is something that where when you go to United States and where the state licensing exams also needs those prerequisites to have the foundational knowledge in the first year of their pre-medical or the bachelor program. And the second year of our bachelor program includes more of introduction to preclinical sciences, where the students are well prepared for your for the MD program. So the first 2 years actually will be done in India, where the students will be having the foundational knowledge which they build up their foundational knowledge for the MD program. And the
Mhm.
second 2 years, which is third and fourth years, are preclinical sciences, which we mention as basic sciences, that will be in Curaçao, where we also follow the integrated curriculum. All the clinical sciences like basic sciences will be covered, like anatomies, physiologies, biochemistries, pharmacology, behavior science, neuroscience, microbiology. All of these courses are done where we integrate our curriculum, and this
No.
is where we prepare also our students for the next step, which is the what we say the fifth and sixth years, which is clinical rotations United States. So we do have actually three phases, as you are mentioning, across the three countries. First 2 years in India, second 2 years in Curacao, and the last 2 years where the students will be doing all the clinical rotations in United States, all the 72 weeks of clinical rotations United States.
Okay. So, when because I think for students to understand that they're going to study in three different countries actually.
Countries.
Yes. So how would you ensure that the smooth transition between these countries do not affect the students? I would say in terms of their studies or in terms of adjusting, the pattern of studying or the kind of way each thing is taught in different countries. So what could be the transition done
That's
by
a
the?
very good question, actually, because we make sure that there is a uniformity across, and then we had a very strong curriculum which is in place, and that is where, and also the student support services that we provide. As you
No.
said, that the first 2 years would be in India, and second 2 years will be in Curacao, and the next 2 years will be United States. There will be a smooth transition, and the best advantage or with the strength of our Avalon is about our faculty and staff administrative support that we do have. So always there will be a orientation that will be given in India, for example, and then the orientation will be in Curacao, and the orientation before they start the clinical rotations. That is the starting point. There will be a detailed orientation where all the academic policies of the program, where the other, like any disciplinary policies, anything related to the school, whatever is the, that will be mentioned to the students transparently on the first day. That's the
No.
starting point. And then starts with the, what we say, the student support system that we provide. So we start with, like, the transition from India, for example, they might need the visas. right? So that is where we provide the guidance for the students, all the supporting documents that will be provided and will be mentioned to the students well in advance by our administrative staff. So the students will be start preparing. For example, that after 2 years the student should be coming to Curacao, right? So in that case the student will be starting preparing all their documentation, because they will be informed well in advance, so that what are needed for the documentation to come to Curacao, so that there will be no delays. The same thing goes from here to US. So whenever we have the US, whenever they need to take US visas and things like that, so the supportive documents the Avalon would be able to provide. So that is something where the immigration support, like by supporting the documents, and then all the other what we say, the support system, like academic support and non-academic support, is something that's an asset for the Avalon. Because academic support in a form of mentorship programs, we have faculty mentorship programs, we have student mentorship programs, we have peer tutoring programs, where the peers will be helping the other peers who are excelling in their academics. So that is something, academically they help them. And then student mentorship, as you were saying, that they, especially what are the expectations, and especially related to all the academic expectations and the cultural adaptations, so that is also important. Our previous students will be helping the students in a form of student mentorship program. And then the faculty mentorship, we generally make sure that the student will be assigned, every new student, to a new faculty, to the existing faculty, and they will be guiding them throughout the process, like even it is related to India or in Curacao, as well as in clinical rotations, we also have the student mentors helping them. So we have different mentorship programs, we have peer tutoring programs, we also have the non-academical support like immigration support, housing support. We have the administrative staff helping them in accommodations and housing support, whether it is in India, whether it is in Curacao, whether it's in the US. So also in the US also, we give them all the information about the housing, where the students can always have the housing facilities. So it is
Mhm.
where especially the transition becomes easy once there is a proper orientation, proper communication, and then also when there is already all the systems in place. And then I'm sure Dr. Samir is going to mention about our accreditations. We do have a very standard accreditations, where all the policies and the support systems are in place, and that's an advantage for all of us, to help the students what they need and provide guidance to become a practicing physicians.
I think that's a very well thought process by the Avalon team to
Yes.
make sure that students have that very smooth transition. That's
Yes.
great to hear.
Yes.
And for each student, what would be the key milestones that each students need to pass at every stage to make sure that okay, yeah, they're there to becoming a doctor in the US? I'm sure
Yes.
there'll be certain milestones.
Yes, definitely. Like a criteria, like a criteria for us to get promoted from one to
Correct.
other. When you see the first 2 years, which are the bachelor program, where the students must receive 75% as a passing grade. So less
Mhm.
than 75% is considered as failure, and any student who fails, they have to repeat the course. But the good thing about that is they need to repeat the course without repeating the whole semester, if
Okay.
they fail. But they should receive only they should receive 75% in the first 2 years, which we mentioned as bachelor program. And then the other 2 years, other 4 years, whether it is in basic sciences and the clinical rotations, the passing grade is 70. So the student must be having reaching receiving 75% in the bachelor of science program to be getting promoted and to be enrolled into the MD program, and that's the criteria. And then in the basic sciences, all the internal exam students must pass with 70% passing grade. And then after passing the basic sciences, the students also must pass with a certain criteria, with the 69% percent, which we mention as NBME CBC exam. For them to be qualified for step one, student must
Okay.
also pass USMLE step one, and then they go into the clinical rotations. Before going into the clinical rotations, all student must pass USMLE step one. That is our graduation criteria, and that becomes easy for the students to get into the residencies. And that is one of the main reason that we put that as a benchmark for our school. And after
Okay.
passing step one, when they do the clinical rotations, they have to pass all the rotations, which is 72 weeks of clinical rotations, which includes 48 weeks of core rotations they have to pass with passing grade, and then also the elective rotations. So they must receive a passing grade in all the courses throughout the program. And also the student must pass also step two, and also the student must pass OSCE exam, which is considered as one of the clinical exam. So
Oh,
when they pass internal exams, CBSEs, CCSEs, USMLE step 1, USMLE step 2, and also the student must be able to pass OSCE. These are the criteria for them to graduate from Avalon.
okay. And are there any optional electives or additional training modules offered during this program for the students?
Yes. So for the bachelor program, if you see our bachelor's curriculum, not only the students in the first year, they will be having all the mandatory coursework done, but in the second part of the, second year, they will be having all introduction to basic sciences like anatomies, physiologies to prepare them for the basic sciences. At that time, we also have the community work, like where the students will be having and going into the community clinics where the students will be doing, and that is a part of our curriculum. Coming to the electives, we are also offering medical education electives for the bachelor student, as well as we are also offering what we say the introduction to surgical skills elective. So those are the two electives the students always can take during the bachelor program. Whereas in the basic science program, we also have the electives like introduction to what we say surgical skills. The student will be very earlier exposed to the surgical skills. So this is what the student will be having an option of taking as an elective. Most of the students like to take that because that's something very interesting. And then especially in the clinical rotations, we do have a lot of electives because the students can select any electives, but they are given an option of taking for 24 weeks of elective rotations, where the student have different electives that are offered by Avalon, like cardiology, dermatology, ophthalmology, pathology, radiology, nephrology, endocrinology, like lot of electives were given.
Oh,
Pulmonary medicine, which is one of the things, child psychiatry, research elective also, because research is one of the very very important part of as a part of our curriculum itself, because research support service supporting, like institute, Avalon is a research supporting institute. So we properly give the guidance to the students so that the students can achieve, and to become a practicing physician. So by this, which we say, I can definitely say Avalon offers a comprehensive and structured medical education program across India, Curaçao, and US, so that they will have a strong foundation in the medical sciences, especially in the bachelor program, basic science program, and the clinical science program, especially, and also having good hands-on experience with the clinical training, receiving a lot of academic and professional support, including the elective opportunities as well as the research opportunities. So that we give and provide all the skills necessary, and credentials for the students to pursue their medical career globally.
okay. Thank you, Dr. Bala, for enlightening us about the structure and the journey for the students. We would like to come to Dr. Samir to talk about the accreditations and global recognitions that Avalon has got. So, Doctor, what makes the NAAC A plus accreditation significant for this program? At Avalon.
Yeah, so I mean, having the NAC Plus accreditation, it's really a testament to SAHE Global and the work they have put into their program to having one of the strongest and best programs in India. I think that by being accredited, it really ensures the students that the education is at the industry's highest level. So by having this foundation, the education that is based off of a strong accreditation, it really helps prepare students. And I think that's part of the great marriage between Avalon and SAHE Global. So once students complete the pre-medical program, and once they come to Avalon, this by having that pre-medical foundation, it really plays a strong role. So accreditation is very important. It's accreditation is designed to help schools become better, but it also is a recognition to show that the school is one of the best, whether in India or the Caribbean or the United States.
Thank you. It's like probably setting up the standards for a top university in the specific field.
Absolutely.
Um, So, how does the Avalon University's ACCM and CAM-HP accreditation add value to students' degree? Because many other universities also do possess the same, or Avalon also possesses the same. And I know it's very difficult to get these accreditations. So, how does it actually value for the student's degree? Actually,
Yeah, no, it's a strong value. I mean, accreditation is now a requirement actually for medical schools in the Caribbean. And the thing is that for medical schools in the Caribbean, you have to be accredited by one of three possible accrediting bodies. And Avalon decided to get two accreditations, CAMHP and ACCM. So
that's
we
nice.
are part of an elite group of medical schools that has obtained accreditations, and we're actually one of two medical schools in the Caribbean that has two accreditations, but we're the only medical school that has obtained the maximum years of accreditation from both CAMHP and ACCM. And that's out of 80 medical schools in the Caribbean. So when it comes to, the value, it really adds value because it's not just a requirement for medical schools to have, but it helps Avalon make sure that we are really performing at a high level in terms of providing the appropriate education. Furthermore, for our students that apply for postgraduate positions in the United States, now all these programs, they're aware of the medical schools that are accredited and that are not accredited. So this really allows our graduates to secure these competitive positions in the United States.
That's nice, doctor. That's nice to hear. And knowing that students would finish their degree, the graduation in the U.S. Also, how much of this program is recognized apart from the U.S. and India? So, is it
Yeah.
recognized in other countries?
Absolutely. No, with accreditation, the recognition is really worldwide. The thing is that, every region of the world, there's accrediting bodies that are designated for regions of the world. But this is becoming a worldwide thing, which is great because, I mean, there's thousands of medical schools out there, but there are only a handful that are accredited. So, when it comes to securing positions, recognition. Most of our students they apply for residency in the United States and Canada. So Canada is one country where we have students that are applying to, but we have had students that have gone to many other countries around the world. Currently, we have over 100 students that are practicing medicine in India, but also African nations, UAE, and various countries. So, as mentioned, with accreditation, this is recognized worldwide, whether it's Australia, whether it's Europe, or South America.
Okay, I think that's good news to the students to understand that yes, probably they want to explore other countries after they've completed their graduation in this program, and they want to look at higher studies in different countries. And I'm sure it's a good news for them to know that it's recognized in the worldwide.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dr. Samir, on enlightening on that. We would like to talk to Dr. Reshma on the accommodation, the food, and the cultural adjustment that Avalon provides during this program. So, Dr. Reshma, if you could kind of enlighten on the accommodation facilities at Curaçao and the US when students are there during that time.
Sure, thank you very much. So when it comes to accommodation in Curacao, we do have the accommodation available on campus, which are our dorms, which are right in front of our college campus. So the students do not have to take any transportation or anything that the students are living on campus. And after 2 semesters, if the students decide that they would like to, go for the outside accommodations, we are also having the list of accommodations listed already on the student lounge so that students can look into and they can decide based upon their choices and based upon their requirement. But it is not mandatory. The students are always welcome to stay in on campus throughout their semesters when they are on the island. And also coming to US, because we have three major sites available for the clinical rotations. So we provide them with the list of accommodation, and based on their requirement and their choices that they would like to stay with a group of other students, they decide on their own. But they are also listed as provided kind of a choices of accommodations to our students.
Okay.
Thank you.
And since we know a lot of students coming in from India who's going to, register for this program for their MBBS degree, and parents are worried about sending their daughters or sons because they're still at the tender young age. So, how safe is the campus and the security measures taken at Curaçao during the time, or when they're going for the clinical rotation in the US?
Very good question. As the parents will be always worried when they are sending their kids out of the country, first time they are going out in the tender age. That's a very good requirement that I would say that the students are required to have a provided safety. So since we have the accommodation on campus, we have the 24-hour security services available on campus. So the students are safe and secured on the island. Along with that, if the students have to accommodate somewhere like, let's say, medical facilities, or they need to go for the groceries or anything, they are also provided the bus services available from the school itself. So they do not need to worry about going out of the campus on their own and having the security issues. But in general, Curacao is a safe island.
Okay.
And coming to US also, again, they will be choosing their own premises based on their requirement. But when we are recommending any kind of accommodation, the students are provided with the secured and good accommodations only, so that they do not have any safety issues. Thank you.
Okay. Coming to the food part, it's a very important aspect for students, because I know they've the reason is that they're moving from one country to another country is the studies, but yes, they would also want to have that energy, or that comfort level of what kind of food intake they take. And they're used to eating a certain kind of food for many years, and suddenly they're shifting to a different country. So what kind of food options are given in the campus, and the vegetarian and non-vegetarian options for students?
Again, this is also one of the very good question. And of course, because we are moving from one country to another country, we do not want to go in cultural shock. So this is one more thing, that in Curacao, we have a diverse community all around the Curacao. And in student population also, we have a diverse student body and a diverse faculty body also. So if you look at the food options, we have vegetarian, non-vegetarian. Some students are following the strict religious, food habits. So they are also provided. Some students will have health-related reasons to follow strict diets. So those are also there. And coming to this campus, we do have the meal plans available for the students. They can have opt-out monthly meal plans where they can use whatever they would like to be preferred choices. And on top of it, the students can also opt out. There are, services, tiffin services are available on campus.
Okay.
So the students can opt out for the Indian meals, vegetarian meal, non-vegetarian meals, and rest of the other, different types of meal processes, whatever they would like to go for, like Jain meal or purely strictly vegetarian, and certain other things also are possible. So since we are living on the island for so many years, we can see that the island is providing more choices actually when you look at the other areas. So yes, the food options will be a great option, that the students can have multiple choices. And
Okay.
Food is
some
very
fast food channels are also available.
Food is very good too. That's for sure. I've had it many times when I'm down there. I mean, Curaçao actually there's about 3 to 4 thousand Indians on the island, right? So I mean, the Indian restaurant is phenomenal. But then I've seen students also they cater food from there's people that do these services,
Yes.
and I mean that looks just as good too. So every time I walk on the campus and I see or on the dorms, I'm like I get hungry every time. So
Just to add
I
to
just
that, our chancellor is so particular about what our students are getting. He will always like to try what our students are eating. So he will just randomly, he will just go to the dorms and ask for the meal, whatever they are serving on that day. And he will make sure that the students are provided with good quality of the food.
Correct. I think it's a very important part, because they wouldn't want to miss their home, or fall homesick because of the food. So I think, yeah, that's a good part to know that they've got the options in the campus. And in coming to the kind of cultural adaptation that students would face, because 6 years they move to three countries, like from India to Curacao, Curacao to the US. Are there any kind of a support system or communities, or kind of any initiatives taken from the Avalon University to help them to kind of adjust to that cultural shift?
Yes, for sure. When it comes to three different countries in just span of 6 years, it is a good adjustment that the students have to make. So when they are starting the journey, they will be in India itself, and SAHE campus is in Tumkur, is very well established campus. So they will have all the diverse body over there, where they can see the Indian students all around, and they can enjoy the culture along with the good education. When they move to Curacao, in Curacao, we have a diverse student body where we have multi-ethnicities, multi-religion, as well as multicultural students body and the faculty body. So that is also another advantage of the students receiving, that they are enjoying the entertainment or along with the extracurricular activities, but mainly focused on the education. And then following the United States, also the same multicultural students will be there. And anyways, United States, it's multicultural and multi-diverse population, so they will have that exposure also. When it comes to the cultural support, yes, we do have the support. We have the Student Governance Association, which provides the students to participate in other extracurricular activities, which can be just the games or certain other things like entertainment or certain other cultural activities. And we do have provided like certain events are meant to be happening, celebrated in the on campus here in Curacao, that like Holi, Diwali, Eid, Christmas, all kinds of cultures are provided. And you can see that on campus we have very well established cultural community on itself on the campus. Along with that, since we have a diverse population on the island, you can observe the diversity on the island. We have the temple, we have mosque, we have a lot of churches, so all kinds of religious as well as the ethnicities, as well as the diverse population is around. And we do provide the students mentoring support also, like student mentor as well as faculty mentorship. So if the students are having any kind of non-academic struggles, we do help them and support them with the non-academic issues also, so that students have very well understanding. They can identify the issues, and they can come over with those issues out of and have a better learning environment. So we do make sure that we provide a better learning environment along with the cultural as well as the other activities as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rishwam. That on kind of that's a kind of encouragement to students to understand that they would be looked after, moving from one
Yes.
country to another. And we've got Dr. Wilson who's joined in. Hello, Doctor.
Good morning. Sorry it's
Good,
taken so
good
long
morning.
for me to join you.
Yeah, we would like to talk about the USMLE exam pattern and the residency preparation for the students. How does
Uh,
the program prepare students for the USMLE Step 1 and Step 2 exams?
Preparation for USMLE Step 1 and Step 2 begins at orientation when we are welcoming students to Avalon. They get to meet the chancellor, the president, the various deans, and at orientation, we set them up for success, telling them that with every lesson, with every uh, preceptor, they should learn their lessons well, and throughout their preclinical sciences, um, the wonderful teachers prepare them for the knowledge that they'll be tested for in USMLE Step 1. And in fact, the NBME exams that occur throughout the basic sciences additively bring them to the point where they can do the comprehensive NBME exam, which is done in our MD5 program. MD5 is done at the end of the preclinical sciences. It's something that we add to help the students prepare for USMLE Step 1. But before taking USMLE Step 1, we insist that they pass the NBME Comprehensive Basic Sciences exam, um, and we do tutoring, mentoring, a variety of things in addition to the studies that they've done through the various semesters. Once they've passed USMLE Step 1, then they come over to the clinical sciences where we do another orientation. And during that orientation, we reinforce what was told to them in the first orientation, that beginning with every class, you must study and learn those lessons well. And so we do NBME shelf exams at the end of each core rotation, and those collectively, like the NBME exams they take during preclinical sciences, add up to the information they need to pass the NBME comprehensive clinical sciences exam. Once they've passed that, then we allow them to take USMLE Step 2. USMLE Step 1 is, as you know, pass-fail these days, so it's really important that they get a great score with USMLE Step 2. So we tell them to prepare with every shelf exam to try to get the very best exams they can. And then when it comes time for the NBME Comprehensive Clinical Sciences exam, we tell them, don't just try to squeak by and barely pass. Try to get the very best score that you can. With that encouragement, with the teachers along the way, our students have been passing those USMLE Step 1 and Step 2, and in fact, they're getting excellent scores with each.
Okay, doctor. Okay. What percentage of students are clearing the USMLE program with this kind of preparation at Avalon, doctor?
Approximately 70% pass rate with the first exam. We really want students to pass the USMLE Step 1 and Step 2 the first time around. That's the reason why we go through all of that preparation in advance of taking the USMLE Step 1 and Step 2. And so USMLE Step 1 is about 70% first-time pass rate, and with USMLE Step 2, it's about a 90% first-time pass rate.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. How does the clinical exposure during the program aid in clearing the USMLE exams for the students during their clinical exposure in the US, doctor?
You know, actually seeing patients really brings the lessons that they've learned into reality. Seeing a patient with hypertension or diabetes and taking care of them helps them understand that all of this anatomy, pathology, pharmacology that they've been learning adds up to good patient care, and it adds up to being able to make diagnoses and do appropriate therapy. It all comes together when they go through their clinical rotations. So whether it's hypertension, diabetes, or whether it's surgery, seeing a patient with symptoms of appendicitis and then taking them to surgery and actually seeing what an inflamed appendix looks like, or in labor and delivery, seeing a delivery and knowing what those stages of labor are all about. And when they get a chance to see the real patients, they understand that all of this learning, this test taking I've been going through makes sense. And in fact, it's really important that as they study, that they don't just study questions and answers and memorize those. It's really important that the students learn the lessons in order to be a better doctor, and also no matter how the questions are asked, if they really understand the information, then they can answer the questions. A couple of years ago, one of our students had a tremendous increase in his test score from one comprehensive test to the next. And my clinical coordinator asked, "How did you do that so successfully?" And he said, I had this great idea. And she's got out her pencil and pen and paper and ready to write down this great recommendation. And he said, "I decided to learn the information rather than just memorize questions and answers." So that's what we recommend. Learn the information. Don't just memorize questions and answers. It'll help you do well on your tests. It will also help prepare you to become a great physician.
Thank you, doctor. And finally, for one more question, Dr. Wilson, how are students guided through the residency application process in the US once they reach that stage?
Yeah. Well, fortunately, we have every 2 months a preparation for residency webinar done primarily by Dr. Ghani, our Associate Dean of Postgraduate Medicine. Dr. Ghani does 4 of those, and then our Dean of the school, Dr. Arja, does 1, and then I do 1 with a recent graduate. So every 2 months, they have the opportunity to learn about all of the steps required to get into residency. In fact, the students are required to attend at least one of those each year, beginning with the MD5 program. In addition to those webinars, we offer individual counseling. Of course, Dr. Ghani, our Dean of Postgraduate Medicine, having been director of a residency program and reading thousands of applications, knows firsthand exactly what's required. So he's available for that individual counseling. But Dr. Arja, our Dean of the school, and myself also are available for individual counseling. So those webinars, individual counseling, and then when the students actually are going through the application process and get interview requests, then we do mock interviews and helping them prepare for that all-important interview process. So that's begins our the work that we do. There are several other things too, but those are the most important, I think.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you. Now coming to the most important part, where students definitely ask the parents would worry or students would be worried about, is the cost and the financial assistance that they would get during this program. So I would like to ask Dr. Reshma and Dr. Samir to give their thoughts on this. What is the complete fee structure for each phase of this program? If some kind of details could be given on that.
Yeah, I can start off with that. So, when it comes to Avalon University School of Medicine, it has always been about giving an opportunity to students that may not have had the opportunity in their respective countries at an affordable cost. So, when it comes to our overall cost of the program, Avalon is one of the more affordable medical schools in the Caribbean and worldwide, really. But at the end of the day, finances is important, and there are fees that students and parents have to really look after. So when it comes to our fees, I could break it down. The 4-year program. I mean, the first 2 years, the basic sciences, you're looking at about approximately $62,000 US dollars, and then once students get to the final 2 years of the program, clinical rotations, you're looking at approximately 80,000 US dollars. So when you look at the total package, overall tuition, that's you're in the 145 to 150,000 US dollars.
Okay.
And I could, I can speak details, but then I don't want to. Our website it's simply comprehensive, but our website does spell out the per semester cost. But I think giving a general idea, it would be a good thing.
So when you compare, because there are a lot of universities in the Caribbean offer probably lesser fees structures. So how do you compare that? Because I know in India students would definitely look, because cost is a big factor. Sure. Because they have to look at it as either an education loan, or they need to look at whether their parents can finance it for the entire 6 years or 4-year program or a 5-year program. So How would you compare when they have a lot of universities offering lesser fee structures,
Yeah.
and Avalon, I would say, is not very expensive, but not very less compared to many of the other universities in the Caribbean. So how would you uh,
Yeah,
kind of
it's a very good question. It's a very good question, and I think that the most important thing for students to do is make sure that you do the research, because when it comes to the Caribbean, I mean, there's about 80 medical schools in the Caribbean, and about 15 of them are accredited, and we're one of the 15, and we're the only medical school that has the maximum years of accreditation from two accrediting bodies. So when we do our comparison, obviously we have to have our fees and tuitions attached as a school. But when you compare it to other accredited medical schools, we are probably the most affordable in terms of the overall educational costs. So there are schools that will have lower tuition cost overall, but you have to make sure are those schools accredited. So when we did our analysis and our competitive analysis, as I mentioned, it's not about making money; it's about providing an education to the students that are looking for an opportunity. But it's also about having it affordable. So when you look at our credentials of having two accreditations and several other recognitions which haven't been mentioned here, our credentials are the same, if not more, than some of these medical schools in the Caribbean that have been around for 40, 50 years. So when you look at the overall package, I could confidently say that we are one of the more affordable educations, and there are many schools out there, right? So, but you have to make sure and see, are these schools accredited? Are they approved? And those are some of the key facts that you have to look at.
Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Reshma, in terms of the accommodation, what kind of expenses would a student incur, in the accommodations during their time in Curaçao or the US? Uh,
So coming to the accommodation, we have the double occupancy and single occupancy rooms available for the students in the on our dorms. So that has the specific charges that they will be getting from our admission director, Miss Hannah. And when it comes to the outside of the campus housing, then it goes variously, So it is not like something that we can strictly say that this is the amount they will be paying. But when it comes to the housing on campus, they have somewhat between $800 to $1,000 accommodation for per person, dependingly what type of rooms they are choosing. And then when it comes to fooding, also that if they take a full month meal plan, double meal and single meal, so accordingly there will be the meal plans, and it is listed on our campus on our website that the students can look it up, and it is
Oh,
very clearly listed on the website. So there is nothing called hidden charges or anything. Very clearly and transparently it is listed on the website. And if they have further questions related to like an entire semester or anything that monthly payments and things like that, that is also listed over there. And coming to the dorms other expenses like utilities and everything, so they are provided with the utilities and internet services, so there is no other extra expenses that the students have to do in terms of utilizing the electricity or internet services or water or anything. It comes as a package.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Samir, what are there any scholarships or fees waivers for students who are exceptionally well, or who's deserving a scholarship, or who's doing well in each stage? So, is there opportunities like that for students?
Absolutely. Yeah. Avalon offers various scholarship opportunities and grants. So, we do our best to really reward students that are performing at a high level, academically wise. And also, there are students that, when it comes to finances, it can be a burden, right? So at the end of the day,
Correct.
we are one of the more affordable, but there's still a cost behind it. And it can be challenging for families. So we do have grants, more specifically a hardship grant, that if a student is, having difficulties paying their tuitions or fees, then they could apply for this grant. The one thing, I would say the most important thing about Avalon and SSAHE Global is, going back to the beginning when I mentioned that we really care. And, when it comes to especially the financial aspect, if a student is struggling to make payments, we work with every student in these type of situations. And we have, formulated various payment plan options and, to make sure that we can do the best that we can from our end so that students can continue their education. So, but going back to the original question, there are scholarship opportunities, grant opportunities throughout our entire MD program, not just for
Mhm.
students that are performing at a high academic level, but for the students that may be struggling to pay their fees.
Great. That's good to know, because a lot of students would love to ask, if they could save their parents money by, performing better and getting some good scholarships during their journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so before we end the session for today, so you've got, all of you all could just tell kind of probably one or two lines in summing up why Avalon students should join Avalon University, and parents should be happy to send their students to, or their children to, this wonderful university. Just a few lines from each of you all.
Yeah. So, I could start off. The first thing I mentioned, this is probably the third or fourth time, we truly care about our students. We really do. It's easy to say, but when it comes to our core values and our mission, it's about caring for our students. But on top of the care, it's also about providing one of the best educations, in the Caribbean and worldwide. I think that accreditation speaks volumes. So when you have that love and care for our students and provide them with the right kind of education for them to succeed, it's a great thing. And our students are doing exceptionally well in their medical practice. So I would say those are the two things that come to mind.
Thank you, doctor.
Yes, I would want to start with our mission statement itself. Like what the main mission statement is related to, preparing our students who can practice globally. And this comes there, starting from India and then Curaçao, and like we want our students to practice anywhere in the world, and we start from there and we align all our, institutional objectives, course objectives, our curriculum, everything related to our mission statement. This is where we started with. And then as we mentioned before in our webinar, like our we have the student centered education, wherever we have a uniform, consistent student centered education where we provide the guidance that is necessary for the students, so who can practice in the world, anywhere they go in the world. So the student support services that we provide, educational resources that we have, as well as the expertise faculty that we have, starting from our bachelor program, basic science program, program, and then the deans that we have who are really helpful for our students, and last but not least, our leadership that we have, and this is something that we look for, and the core values, like we made our curriculum, our support system, our educational resources, everything, so which is related to our core values, and we align with it. And then the support system that we provide, individualized attention, the support services that we give for our students. I think this is something that, as Dr. Samir said, that we care, and then this is what we pledge to give, we strive to give for all our student body, which is making our student, like our program very successful. This is something that I would want to add with what Dr. Samir said.
Thank you, doctor.
And it's very well said, Dr. Bala and Dr. Samir. I would like to add over there that we believe in the outcome, the product. So if we say that we are hiring the student, or we are taking the students to educate them and making them as a practicing physician, our results speak. This year, if you know that we have 91% of matching rate. So that speaks the volume of our standards. We manage the standards, we make sure that we are following the standards, and that's the reason that we have both the accreditation, and this is our product, that we are having all well-rounded physicians produced from Avalon. And this is our chancellor's goal, that he wants to produce the physicians who are well-rounded, and empathetic, and they are knowing their cultural values as well as they know the patient care. So those are the things which are very important, and it is led by the physicians. So if you see our chancellor to president to deans, everybody is knowing what is medicine. So that's the main thing that I would see. It is led by the physician group of physicians, so they know how difficult it can be and how to make it possible for the students to be reaching to their dream career of being physician. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
Avalon is a relatively small to medium-sized medical school, and there's a lot of close personal attention from day one straight through graduation. We have we believe in a community that starts the day that the students arrive and continues beyond graduation. We keep in touch with our alumni and are proud of the fact that they're not only good physicians, but they're good leaders in their field, becoming executive officers in hospitals, in the residency programs, becoming chief residents. Our students are graduated not only to be good doctors, but to be good leaders. Not only to be good doctors, but the kind of doctors that we want to take care of ourselves and our family. We believe in the golden rule: take care of others the way that you want to take care of yourself. And finally, we have cultures of collaboration, cultures of kindness, and cultures of continuous learning. When we stop learning as teachers, we should stop teaching. So we believe in that from day one and continue it into medical practice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you, Dr. Wilson. I think it was wonderful speaking to all of you all, and thank you all to our distinguished speakers today from Avalon University, Curaçao. And we are sure that today's session has clarified most of the questions that the aspiring doctors or the families would want to know. And I'm sure the Avalon University pathway is a very truly global medical education system in place. And that is because we've got these wonderful doctors who are present today, and many others who have not present today, who've been you know who have evolved Avalon University to what it is today. And kind of accreditation, and the kind of process and system that they put in place, so that like how they spoke about, the entire thing is the output of what students will come out of it with a wonderful degree, and the experience to work in the US. And to all the students who have joined us today, we hope this session has brought us a step closer to your dream. And we hope that this session will help you to fulfill that dream. And thank you, doctors. Thank you for this wonderful session today.
Thank you.
It's our
Thank you.
pleasure.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much.